Imagine getting paid just for sharing your thoughts on products and services you use every day. With Survey Junkie, it's that simple. Click on the link in the video description to discover how you can start earning today by taking surveys.
A lesbian sex offender who attacked two women in nightclub toilets 19 days apart has been jailed for 4 years and 3 months after her first victim read about the second attack and posted on Facebook, "She did it to me, too." Jennifer Malley, 28, took advantage of her first victim after she had her drink spiked and led her to a toilet cubicle where she sexually assaulted her. Less than 3 weeks later, the sexual predator carried out a similar attack on another young woman who she trapped in a cubicle in another club. The first victim only came forward 3 years later when she read about the second attack and posted on Facebook, "She did it to me, too." Both victims became friends and attended court together to watch Malley be sent to jail. Judge Robert Pawson told her that had she been a male sex offender, the public would expect them to receive a custodial sentence. The first attack happened in the early hours of New Year's Day 2019, when the victim met Malley at the DYMK club in Bournemouth, Dorset, after being dumped by her boyfriend. The woman, who was 22 at the time, said she had 3 rum and cokes, then started feeling weird and like a zombie. She believes her drink was spiked. Malley, who was aged 23 at the time, led her to the toilet, locked the cubicle door and indecently assaulted her. Charles Gabb, prosecuting, said, "This was a sustained incident. The victim was particularly vulnerable by way of her state. We cannot prove who it was administered the substance, but for anybody who cared to see, she was seriously affected. Anybody would have noticed there was clearly something very wrong with this person." On January 20th, Malley attacked another young woman in the toilet of Cameo nightclub, trapping her in the cubicle before putting her hand up her skirt, with the assault lasting about 20 seconds. Malley admitted the sexual assault and was given a 12-month community order and placed on the sex offenders register for 5 years. After reading about that incident, the first victim commented on social media, "She did it to me too." The second victim reached out and they met up for coffee to share their experiences. She then made a complaint to Dorset police and Malley was charged with the first attack. She was found guilty of 3 counts of sexual assault against the first victim. Chetna Patel, defending, told Bournemouth Crown Court said that a very unpleasant incident was not sustained but short, spontaneous and fueled by alcohol. She said, "She desired to use the facilities. This is not a case where she was taken and dragged to the toilet against her will." Both of them had been willingly consuming alcohol. Miss Malley has not committed any further offenses in the 5 years since. She recognizes her consumption of alcohol played a significant part and rarely drinks or indeed goes out. This was out of character. Her behavior was isolated to that period of time. The court heard that Malley was physically larger than her victim and knew she was intoxicated and vulnerable. In jailing her, Judge Robert Pawson told Malley, "The victim was at a low ebb and she sought out your company. I have no doubt, having heard the evidence, that night someone slipped her a Mickey Finn. Although there is a very strong inference you were involved in administering that, there's a lurking doubt in my mind and I resolve that in your favor. But I am sure on the evidence that you knew or perceived that she was intoxicated and very vulnerable. You knew the state she was in and you formed an intention to do what you did and led her to the ladies. Whether she resisted or not, she was going to become subservient to your will. While you had no convictions at the time, you offended similarly within less than 3 weeks. I see little remorse in what I have read and heard. I have to consider the public's perception if a man in your position was given a suspended sentence. The sex of the perpetrator should not be decisive in terms of sentence." Judge Pawson also made a restraining order preventing her from contacting the 2 victims and a sexual harm prevention order banning her from being in a public toilet cubicle with another woman. She will also have to remain on the sex offenders register for life.